Hey, this is Kostas from Pantheïst here, and also for my solo stuff under my name Kostas Panayotou. And I thought I'd do something that I've never done before and give you a little bit of an overview of the equipment that I'm using for the music I create. I will concentrate mostly on my solo stuff that comes under my name Kostas Panayotou, but yeah, pretty much using very similar gear for Pantheïst as well. And I thought, yes, give you a bit of an insight really. A little bit in the context of having released my latest single Lockdown Skies, which you can find on your favorite streaming services out there. It is a little bit of a tribute to my favorite artists that inspired me to play synthesizer, so I thought it was quite fitting to be making this video here as well. Yeah, inspired by people like Vangelis, Jean-Michel Jarre, Tangerine Dream. Also more modern artists have been quite influential in more recent years, like 3-6, Hoover Network, Yagi and all that. So yeah, so this is the gear that I'm creating most of my stuff with. So as you can see, I'm sitting here by don't have the most high-tech recording equipment, but you can see here my Phantom Roland with a patch that I've created myself, a sort of sample that has an inbuilt sampler. This has a mellotron type of sound. I used it in my sort of Times of Change track in an EP that I released in 2020. Has a very sort of distinctive sound, but it's just, it's not a great sampler, and that's why it kind of makes the sounds a bit different than they're supposed to be, which makes it actually more interesting for me, because you can get some very interesting new sounds. So this is all this sound. Quite epic sort of sound. It has a lot of really cool built-in sounds. It has like a sort of customized a few. This was used in my sort of Ghostlands album that I made so many years ago, and the name Sermones at more towards the sounds that I created myself. This one I used live with a band Said the Land that I played, side project from Justin and Belinda from Cripple Black Phoenix. Yeah, what else have we got? I've sort of I did also a sample of my own voice that has been used actually in the intro of Seeking Infinity album. You can hear it in the background. A sound I've been using in my solo stuff. Yeah, so it gives you the possibility to create your own sounds. This one I called it Evoken Light. It has like a dark sort of. I think I used it in the Aphonic Threnody album. So yeah, so this is the Phantom, Phantom X6. Roland Phantom has been used in most of my work since I got it. It's a very good, reliable keyboard. I've got here underneath another Roland, RS9. This one is a more frequent acquisition. It's just more like because of the width. It's the only one I have that actually has a whole full piano 88 key keyboard, so I can actually play the practice actually art, which is pretty much 100% piano that I'm playing as a live musician of art. So I needed a keyboard like that, and for some of my own compositions, to be fair, it's quite handy as well, because it has 88 rather than with the custom 76 keys really. Patched it actually to my laptop where I go in a moment, so through a MIDI cable, because this is the sound that I used for the track Lockdown Skies. So I've got my laptop here. You probably cannot see the screen, but there's some really cool sounds. So I'm using Reason for my electronic stuff, mostly because I think it's a very good DAW for electronic music. I use CUBASE quite a lot. CUBASE mostly for Pantheïst and the metal stuff, if you like. Sometimes I combine the two, but Reason is great. I think I recorded my solo album, upcoming electronics album, pretty much 100% on Reason, but use some WAV sound, some audio that I imported, but mostly everything was done on Reason. Yeah, it has like so this is a sound called Hybrid's Downfall, which has been used on the track Lockdown Skies. I think it's a very cool trancey sound. It goes a bit like this. Quite rhythmical. so I'm sort of looking out for really cool sounds, like what we call soft synths, which I use through MIDI, some really cool free ones, but some paid ones as well. Reason has its own built-in ones, which are many of which are really great. So I just, I don't really get attached to particular sounds, or whatever sounds cool I sort of modified for the needs of the track, I guess, and I use it like that. I have to say I'm quite loyal with my equipment though, so when it comes to hardware, and including the DAWs, to be fair, digital audio workstations, I sort of stay loyal with them until I really cannot use them anymore. So I'm not someone who likes much change. So yeah, so moving on to my main keyboard here that I use in Pantheïst mostly, but I used again in my electronic album, my solo stuff. It's a great sort of Roland V combo here underneath, and that one is really good for the organ sound, to be honest. That's the most amazing organ sound. Actually, I prefer it to North. I know a lot of people prefer North keyboard. Personally, I find this better because it's, I think mostly because it has a more raw sound, which I prefer. Anyway, I know people like more slicker sound, generally speaking, but I like more raw, sort of real sound, like that has some imperfections to it. I feel it sounds more authentic. So this one has really cool sound. You know, it's in a lot of my solo tracks. You can, the good thing is you can kind of modify it with a gain, make it really, really like a guitar, almost like come through like a solo or whatever. Makes it a bit more distorted or more subtle. And of course you can apply the Leslie. And could really cool stuff with it, like fade it out and in, and it's a really cool sound. And lastly, I've got here a KORGM1. That's really an early 90s keyboard that has been used quite a lot. You're gonna recognize it. In fact, has been so overused in pop music on the early 90s that few people are using it nowadays, other than as a tribute, as I do myself, because you recognize the sound so much. You know, Queen, bands like that, and all the dance scene of that era have been using the KORGM1. I've been using mostly two sounds from this quite a lot, and actually that first one I'm using in Pantheïst quite a lot. If I managed to get to that, it's a bit old, so the knobs are not always easy to manipulate, but yeah, this is a sound called Universe. You're gonna hear it a lot of my work because I love it. I sort of modified it a bit. And this one I used in the track Lockdown Skies. This is a sort of percussive piano that was all over the early 90s, and you're gonna recognize it immediately. So it's gonna be like this. I think the track was more like that. Very percussive. Has a very unique vibe that makes me nostalgic to the early 90s. So yes, yeah, that's it. That's my gear. So I'm curious to see what gear you're using and what your thoughts are. Cheers.